From the Convergence Studio in the School of Communication, this is Loyola News Chicago.
Welcome to this week's episode of Loyola News Chicago. I'm Carla Rogner.
And I'm Allison Klein. Here's today's news. Loyola men's basketball team has gained quite a following since they won the Missouri Valley Conference tournament and made it to the big dance.
Henry Redmond gives us an inside look at the Ramblers' March Madness experience.
What is happening?
Senior walk-on Nick Donardi is asking the same question as most of the country.
What is happening?
Senior walk-on Nick Donardi is asking the same question as most of the country. Senior Dante Ingram and redshirt junior Clayton Custer hit last-second shots to keep Loyola in the NCAA tournament. The Ramblers have some divine help from their chaplain sister Jean, and Custer knew he had some help from above to make the shot.
Coach put me in a position to make a play at the end, and I'm very appreciative of that. The only thing I can say is glory to God for that one. The ball bounced up on the rim, and I got a good bounce like that.
Loyola has been locked in since the Missouri Valley Conference tournament and has continued to say it is only focusing on its next opponent. But head coach Porter Moser is letting the team enjoy the journey and let some emotion out.
About a month or two is that we knew we were having to win the conference and then get to the conference tournament, and it's been this mentality of you win, enjoy the moment. I've been asked a million times, are you letting the guys enjoy it? I'm like, heck yeah, I'm letting them enjoy it.
The Ramblers, Loyola students, and fans are certainly enjoying the moment. The school is getting the Cinderella treatment, and according to the Chicago Tribune, Loyola's admissions website has seen a 50% increase in traffic. Senior Ben Richardson knows the wins bring exposure to Loyola.
I would say the same thing. It's great to get some exposure for our school and our fans, and on the national stage, we know there's so many Loyola fans that have come up to us, that have been fans, since '63, the national championship team, and they're so proud of us, and it just means the world to us to bring that pride back.
After the wins in the first two rounds, Loyola is headed to the Sweet 16 for the first time in 33 years. Henry Redmond, Loyola News Chicago.
Henry and Haley Spittler join us from Atlanta, where they will be covering Loyola's game later today. Henry, Haley, how's the energy there in Atlanta?
So the energy in Atlanta is amazing. We've seen maroon and gold scarves all over the streets. There's Loyola fans everywhere. We heard that they sold 700 tickets to the game today, so it seems like Phillips Arena is going to be very full with maroon and gold today.
And what exactly are you guys planning on doing today?
Yeah, so the game's still about 4 hours away. We just got to the arena and got our media credentials, but even this morning, the Phoenix Report-Tonight Game's news stories out. They covered the brand. There's a new rap song that just came out this morning about Loyola basketball team. They had a piece about scarves, and then we're going to try to get some new footage before the game even starts about a pep rally that's happening at a hotel. And then after the game, we'll be having a game recap and talking about what exactly went down and what happened in the game against Nevada.
Sounds like you guys are going to have a very busy day. Here in Chicago, we heard that the basketball team got lost on their way there. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
So Loyola was getting ready to go to practice yesterday, and their police escort never showed up. And so eventually their bus decided we're going to go anyway, but their bus driver didn't know where to take the team, what entrance they were supposed to use. Kind of like us, we couldn't figure out where to park. So they were driving around the arena in circles. Eventually the bus driver got lost, and they ended up getting to practice 30 minutes late. Porter Moser apparently yelled at a tournament official for a while, but his players said they were proud of how he handled the situation, and they did eventually get to practice.
Definitely shows that Porter Moser's passionate about his team, that's for sure.
All right, Henry and Haley, thank you both so much for chatting with us. Say hi to Sister Jean for me.
Will do.
Thank you.
A Loyola celebrity has taken the national stage along with the basketball team. Betsy Mellon reports about Loyola's unofficial mascot.
March Madness has been an exciting time for the Ramblers. Not only have we watched our basketball team make it to the Sweet 16, our very own Sister Jean has become a subject of national attention.
Sister Jean has been working at Loyola since it merged with Mundelein College in 1963. Since then, her career has been characterized by the admiration of students.
She's a cool lady, and she's super down to earth and very involved in the Loyola community. Sister Jean is an icon for the school. I feel that she represents community and just school spirit all around campus.
Sister Jean is just such a sweetheart, and it's just so cool. Like, she's basically like all of our, I don't know, just like just a big part of our school.
The 98-year-old nun serves as the men's basketball chaplain, but has also made an impact that reaches far beyond the court.
Sister Jean is such a dynamic presence, and she is someone who just brings light into any room. She's one of our biggest assets here at Loyola.
During March Madness, Sister Jean has become a hit on social media, even getting a shout-out from the former president himself, who was rooting for the Blurs. She was the most searched, tweeted about figure this year and has been the subject of national news, appearing on outlets like USA Today and Good Morning America. After the Ramblers' impressive wins, merchandise sales have skyrocketed almost 500%. One of the most requested items, a Sister Jean bobblehead. Betsy Moline, Loyola News, Chicago.
Sister Jean has Loyola being knocked out during the Sweet 16. The Ramblers will take on Nevada Wolfpack tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time to try to bust her bracket and move on to the Elite Eight. Loyola is just one of many teams who has ruined brackets with its surprising victories. 16 teams remain in the NCAA March Madness tournament and 0 perfect brackets. ESPN reports of the 17.3 million brackets submitted to their website, not a single one got all 16 games correct, and only 3 brackets predicted 15 of the 16 teams correctly. ESPN is now offering fans a second chance to submit their new brackets, beginning with the Sweet 16. This year's championship could belong to anyone, and the Ramblers are still dancing.
While March Madness was on top of everyone's mind, the mood was much different at Gentile Arena this past Friday. During Colossus, Loyola's annual show, comedian Hannibal Buress made jokes at the expense of the Catholic Church, resulting in Loyola staff cutting his microphone. Shara Huang finds out what students thought of the performance.
On Friday during Colossus, Loyola's annual show, Hannibal Buress was invited to perform. However, a couple of minutes into a show, his mic was cut off after reportedly violating the content restriction contract, which prohibited him from speaking about rape, sexual assault, sexual orientation, and race. We went out to hear student opinions about what they think of the mic cut and the contract.
I think him and his team did sign off of that. With that being said, I think it was kind of also very ignorant of Loyola to, hire a performance or someone who would, an entertainer in general, who was known for, his material is kind of very geared towards the things that I think Loyola was restricting him on.
So I thought it was really interesting. I feel like if they made a contract with certain rules and regulations that he should have abided by that, whether he usually does or not. I think some of those topics can be sensitive and controversial for certain students, so I'm sure that's why they wanted to leave it out of the performance.
At face value, I think at a private university, the majority of of my understanding of the contract, the majority of what was prohibited is fair. If this was like U of I or something like that, sure, go ahead, go nuts.
It seems that students have mixed opinions. Some think that the contract reflects Jesuit values, but others think that the contract is just too strict for humor. Cheryl Huang, Loyola News, Chicago.
After 15 minutes, Burr's mic was turned back on and he finished his show. He also stayed 3 hours after the show to play wiffle ball with some students on campus.
Coming up, there's a new place to get a late night snack on campus.
And then Muslim Student Association hosts their biggest event of the school year. We will have all that and more after the break.
This can't be happening.
This can't be happening. Of course it's not happening. Armored car. Listen, having money isn't about luck. Make your own coffee, save $1,000 a year. Feed me.
Feed the pig. Rosita, did you know there's a right way to sneeze? Let's show them, Elmo. Yeah, got it. When you feel like your nose needs to give it at you, this is how you act. This is what you do. Lift your arm up high, bend it toward your face. Sneeze right there in the bendy place. Achoo! Achoo! You can do it with ease. Achoo! Achoo! That's the right way to sneeze.
Start preventing flu? Visit flu.gov.
It was primary election day in Illinois on Tuesday, and Jackie Dries is here to tell us more about her experience covering it.
Thanks, Carla. It was a long night, but an interesting one. More than 400,000 Illinoisans took to the polls to cast their votes in the primary elections, and the race for the Democratic gubernatorial nomination came to an end with J.B. Pritzker securing the nomination. It was an early election night for the Pritzker campaign. Just an hour and 20 minutes after polls closed, reports began to surface that the billionaire Hyatt Hotels heir was projected to beat Daniel Biss and Chris Kennedy for the nomination with nearly half of the votes. Searching for the best view, campaign donors and volunteers cheered during Pritzker's acceptance speech and for his criticisms of President Donald Trump and incumbent Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner.
I'm not a perfect person. I'm not going to pretend to be. And frankly, I've had enough of people like Donald Trump, politicians like Bruce Rauner, who can never acknowledge a flaw, never offer an apology, and never take responsibility for anyone under their care.
Rauner held on to a single-digit lead in a close race for the Republican nomination before declaring victory over Jeannie Ives. Loyola professor of political science, Dr. Eric Hansen, thinks the primary results could pave the way for an interesting gubernatorial election this fall.
We have Bruce Rauner, who's the incumbent. He's one of the least popular incumbents among all governors in the country. We had a very crowded Democratic field because candidates were sensing his weakness. And yet at the same time, Pritzker didn't even win a majority of Democratic votes.
The race for the Republican gubernatorial nomination wasn't the only close call for this year's primary. In the 3rd Congressional District, Representative Dan Lipinski achieved a narrow victory over political newcomer Marie Newman on the Democratic side. He'll face Republican Arthur Jones in the general election. Working the primary election was a long night, but it was exciting to be a part of the atmosphere and see all the results coming in live.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a great time. Thanks, Jackie.
It's also election time here on campus. Starting today, students can vote for their student government president and vice president, in addition to senators, representatives, and other positions. A link to the voting portal was sent to all students through their LUC email this morning. Students have until Sunday, March 25th to cast their vote. Nominees for president and vice president include Anusha Manam and Adriana Caballero versus David Kwok and Kasper Kubaszewski. The candidates have been campaigning for months for their positions over campus, so please be sure to cast your vote. Each year, Loyola hosts Islamic Awareness Week. Isra Elzami reports on one of the most popular events of the festivity.
Every March, Loyola's Muslim Student Association hosts Hijab for a Day. The event helps teach students of all faiths more about the Muslim head covering, called the hijab.
What Hijab Day means to me is when women are coming together to support each other.
Hijab for a Day for me personally is being able to stand in solidarity with my fellow Muslim sisters.
MSA members passed out pink hijabs in the Damon Student Center on Wednesday for the students who wanted to participate in the event. The event holds a lot of meaning for some hijabis who are happy to see other students on campus supporting them. MSA advisor Wajiha Khan says hijab is an important symbol of her faith.
I feel like it connects me to other Muslims just because they can see, who I am and what I am, and it's a part of my identity. So,
Hijab for a Day is part of Islamic Awareness Week, held every year at Loyola. The goal is to help other students understand more about the Muslim student community on campus. For those who don't regularly wear the headscarf, the event is a good opportunity to get an idea of what other Muslim women go through. Nida Hamid, a sophomore at Loyola, participated in her first Hijab for a Day last year.
It's really eye-opening to see how the way people's view of you changes by simply wearing a headscarf, and I think it's really important for people to realize that's a reality for Muslims who are hijabi.
Hamid hopes more students will participate in events like these to encourage more tolerance and a better understanding of different religions.
So I feel like there's a lot of solidarity on this day where people can see what it's like for a hijab woman to wear it day to day and kind of join in on that and experience it as well.
It feels like, everyone's kind of against us. We see, and now I see like all these women wearing pink hijabs, like people I don't know before, people I do know, people in my classes. It just feels really great. It just feels like there's a lot of unity on campus.
At the end of the day, all the participants came together for a group photo in their pink hijabs. The group photo was a symbol of the unity and solidarity they all experienced on that day together. Israel Zamli, Loyola News, Chicago.
Islamic Awareness Week will end with a culmination dinner this Friday where students can enjoy some ethnic foods and listen to a well-known Muslim speaker.
Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers recently opened their first Chicago location in Rogers Park near Loyola's Lakeshore campus. The fast food restaurant opened in early March, serving a simple and affordable menu of chicken fingers, french fries, and Texas toast. The restaurant will cater to college students by remaining open until 3:30 in the mornings on Thursdays through Saturdays. Raising Cane's was quick to become a sponsor of Loyola Athletics, and the restaurant is covered in Rambler-themed decorations. Loyola students from out of state can now find their favorite fast food from back home on their college campus. The restaurant does not yet accept Rambler bucks, but they are currently working with the university. With baseball season quickly approaching, Forbes magazine has ranked all 30 major league ballparks. Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs, made the top 10, but just barely. The park snagged the 10th spot, ranking far above Guaranteed Rate Field, home of the Chicago White Sox, which came in 28th overall. The list was based on things like aesthetics, setting, and historical relevance. Wrigley Field is one of the oldest parks on the list, being built in 1914. Opening day at Wrigley Field is scheduled for April 9th, when the Chicago Cubs will face the Pittsburgh Pirates. I was really surprised that Wrigley Field placed so far down on the list.
Makes me pretty proud to be a Chicagoan, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it for this week's Loyola News Chicago.